Hello, everyone. Tonight we're going to discuss finding balance, becoming in tune with your emotions. And I am reading your testimonies that you are writing here in the comments. And it seems to be a common theme that's here, just that we are looking for a little reprieve from feeling a little bit stressed out. And I am hoping that tonight is able to give you some of that, and that I am also able to share some strategies that you can take away from this evening and work into your routine immediately. In addition, I'm going to be sharing one of my brand new favorite things that I've been doing for my morning routine. So I'm super excited to do that for all of you and to show you that. But I have, oh my gosh, so much to talk to you about tonight, so much to discuss. So tonight, what it's going to look like is I'm going to be discussing balance to begin with. I'm going to be talking to you about what balance means to me, what it has meant to me, and what I am trying to change my viewpoint on balance as we speak. So hopefully some of those words will be encouraging to you. In addition, we are going to do a little prioritizing time activity. We're going to be doing a daily practice activity. We're going to be discussing emotional balance, and then I'm going to end you with a very awesome, easy stress relief technique that you are going to be able to use as many times as you want within a day, because it only takes a minute. And I really think that you are going to leave here just feeling like a breath of fresh air. So everybody just kind of do a little breath with me, just a deep breath in and let it all out. Like, just let it out, okay? So where we are starting tonight, I had promised you within the description, if any of you read this and you're like, I am coming here because she said we are going to be making more time for me. We are going to be making a list of what brings us joy, right? And we're also going to be talking about a little bit of stress relief. However, in the very beginning, I think what is important is that we talk a little bit about balance. So I encourage you, and I have everybody muted. It's not because I want to be the only person to talk, but there's a lot of background noise if we don't have the other microphones muted. So I'm going to be talking to you about a little bit about balance in general, because for me, well, what does balance mean to you? Let's start with that. Tell me in the comments here, when you hear the word balance, like, what does it mean to you? Just like, boom, go off with it. I say, are you feeling balanced? What does that mean? Or I just use the word balance when it comes to your life. What does that mean? What does that look like? What is the first thing that kind of comes to your mind? Because initially for me, balance was something, Karen says, feeling settled. Sarah says, peace and harmony. Not doing more of one thing than another, keeping as close as possible to an equilibrium. Calming, feeling, I like all these things. What it had meant to me before, when it came to feeling balanced, was, you know, kind of feeling like as close to possible as equilibrium, but kind of wearing all my hats and wearing all of them well. And not necessarily, for me, it's also a thing that I'll be like, oh my gosh, I'll be hard on myself about it. Like, you are not really feeling balanced, or today you were not very balanced when it came to, so maybe you weren't very balanced when it came to your work today, or you weren't very balanced when it came to wearing that mom hat today. You spent way too much time over here in this other area. Are any of you hard on yourself like that? Do any of you judge yourself and feel at times that you're feeling a little unbalanced, maybe in one or more areas of your life? Because something that was really encouraging to me when I was reading more about balance in general was the notion that balance, it's not about balancing all the things that you have to do, but it's really more about a state of balance inside of you. So balance is something that you can achieve as a state of being inside of you. And it doesn't have to be this magical juggling act, keeping all these balls up in the air. It doesn't have to be wearing each of those hats for an equal time every single day. It doesn't mean even doing all of those things every single day in an equitable way. It's not about cramming in as many things as you can into a day. It's about examining what is important and what is not important. And it's about evaluating how much time and energy you should be spending in a specific area and really prioritizing your time. So for me, like I said, it was more a thing that, and it still is, a thing that I can be hard on myself about balance. I can feel very unbalanced, and I'm not even sure that I know what that means, except equating that to chaotic. Do any of you know what I'm talking about when I talk about, like, oh my gosh, I feel a little chaotic. I feel like my life is a little chaotic. Because I was equating chaos to feeling unbalanced, right? That chaotic life, like, oh my gosh, all these things are happening and it's moving so quickly and I cannot keep up. That state of being unbalanced. So what I'm going to bring it back to this evening, because a lot of you are saying, yeah, I know what you mean, right? Yeah, this is how I feel, is that we can bring it back in. We can slow it down by really just internalizing the state of balance and not grading ourselves on how well or how unwell we are doing in one area or more in our life. So, any of you out there an over planner? When I said about cramming things in, do any of you, even in the state of the world right now, are you trying to cram in more in one day than you should? Anybody? Are any of you a yes person? Anybody? Yeah, it's like, oh wait, that sounds like fun, yes. Or, oh wait, this person needs me, yes. Oh, or wait, maybe I can do this, yes. Oh wait, oh yeah, I can stay up 2 hours later and help so-and-so with this, yes. Oh wait, I can be on the phone for 3 hours and listen to all your problems, yes. I can do all these things, yes, 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 yes. Okay, hi yes people. We're gonna talk about that tonight because that is going to be the root of this chaos. And I'm going to give you permission in a very kind way to protect that energy, to protect that, to protect your inner balance. That is what we're talking about tonight. We are not talking about a balance on a scale of whether you are doing well or you are doing poorly in one area or another, or whether you are doing an equitable job in all of the hats that you're wearing, because hi, I think almost all of you are women, right? Up in here, you all are. And we wear so many hats. We wear all of them. And we think that, we put one hat on and we do this for a certain amount of time, and then we take that hat off, and then we put this other hat on, and then we do this other job for a certain amount of time. So I want you to think about that right now. What are the hats that you wear? You have paper and pencil in front of you, or paper and pen in front of you, or you have a phone or whatever. Write down some of the hats that you wear on a daily basis. Is it a mom hat? Is it a sister hat? Is it a grandma hat? Is it a friend hat? A daughter hat? Is it a business owner hat? Is it whatever your occupation is hat? Is it a wife hat? What are the hats that you're wearing? Make a list. This list is going to be important because soon we're going to be doing an activity that's going to deal with prioritization of time. So it's not about wearing all these hats for the same amount of time every single day and doing them all absolutely perfectly, because some days you may only wear one or two, and that is okay. I'm giving you permission not to balance all of those areas of your life in the same equitable way, giving them the same amount of attention every single day. It's impossible to do. There are some days truly that other things require your attention way more, or maybe one of those hats requires your attention way, way more than others. And I'm going to talk to you about that because it's important to also be aware of that in your life as well. Yeah, lots of hats, right, Denise? Lots of them. Lots of hats, lots of things going on. So, ready for this? It's going to start with time. It's going to start with the notion that, ladies, if your life is constantly overflowing, you are never going to be able to manage it all. So you are going to have to take some things off your plate. I know there are some things that are non-negotiable, but there are plenty of things and plenty of people and plenty of activities that we have and that we are spending our time and we are spending our energy on that we are not getting the same return on our investment. We're not. These might be people, these might be places, they might be things, they might be some of those hats that you're wearing. And now I'm not telling you that if you're a mom, okay, just like screw it, don't wear your mom hat for the day and go let them do whatever. But what I am saying is that there are some things, maybe there are some relationships that are not bringing you joy, that are not as much of a give and take relationship, that you are putting forth way too much energy and you're maybe getting this much back in return. And I'm not also going to tell you that you have to just completely get rid of people in your life, but I am saying that right now, when it comes to balance, it's going to be not about time management. It's going to be about boundary management within your life, which is why it's important to go back to those different hats. Life is a balance of holding on and also letting go. That's what we're going to be talking about tonight. So with your activity, what we're going to be talking about, you put down all those different roles that you had. Okay, so I have my mother hat, my friend hat, my wife hat, my daughter hat, my business owner hat. I also have my hat as a daughter of God. Okay, and that relationship with self is very important too. How many of you had self on there as one of those hats? Your relationship with self. Did any of you have that listed? No. 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 Write it down. That's the most important one. And for me, where I put that basically synonymous with my relationship with God, because that's the time of the day that I spend my time reflecting, that I spend my time centering, that I spend my time, or whoever your higher power is, but that I spend my time really kind of, nurturing myself. So you have all these hats. Now I'm going to ask you to take your paper and I'm going to ask you to prioritize them. And I'm going to ask you to put what's at the top of your list. So what's going to be at the top of your list is going to be your top priority hat. Okay, you have all these hats that you have to wear within a day. And I want you to think about them. I want you to put at the top, which is like your top priority. And then under that, it doesn't mean like if you put wife here and you put mother here, or you put mother here and you put wife here, that you're slighting one of them or the other. I am just saying that you're going to have to prioritize these for this activity. So take a look at the hats. The top is the one that if you fulfill this need, okay, all the other ones are going to kind of come more effortlessly. The top is the most enjoyable. The top is the most important for you. The top is the most that is going to really feed into your energy as well in a positive manner. So I want you to take those hats and I want you to prioritize them. I want you to have it almost like a little ladder, like I did mine here in a little ladder format, top to bottom, okay? And I want you to prioritize those and take a moment just to do that now. Most important to least important of the hats that you wear. When you're done in the comments, if you could just write something that brings you joy, anything, I'll know that you're finished. Lots of great answers. See, most of you are finished. If you're not finished, that's okay. You can always come back to this activity as well. Okay, so this is your priority scale. I'll let you know mine. Doesn't have to be the same as yours. In fact, they're all going to be a little bit different, and that's okay, because all of us have different priorities. We have different relationships with different people. We also have different relationships that require and request more time in certain times of our life. Mine, my top is God, my relationship with God, and my relationship with self. I put those together because I think that they are synonymous. For me, in my brain and in my beliefs, that is synonymous for me. That is my alone time. That is my time to speak to God. That's also my time that I can just be centered. That is at the top. Next comes my role as a wife. That hat is very important to me because I heard it once before, and I don't know, this might be a little crass, but that's kind of who I am too. So you know I'm going to say like occasional curse words and things like that in here. I apologize. It's who I am. I hope you love me anyway. If not, that's okay. And just forgive me. So my relationship as a wife comes next. The reason that becomes before the relationship with me as a mother is because somebody said it to me and they were like, well, hopefully, hopefully your kids move out and hopefully your husband doesn't. And that's what someone said to me. And I was like, whoa, that's kind of crazy. And at first I was like, she is rude. And then I'm like, oh, wait, you're probably right about that. So it's not that I go and I worship my husband and then I leave my son over in the corner like fending for himself. I just really have to remind myself also to nourish that relationship. Like without my relationship with my husband, I wouldn't have my son. And I really care about that relationship. So that comes next for me. And it also brings me a lot of joy when I get to spend time with him. Next comes my role as a mother. Next comes my role as a business owner. After that comes my role as a friend. Okay. And that is kind of how it goes in my hats that I have. Friend and also other relationships goes in there too, friend and family. Now, when you are looking at this, I want you to look at it. You can totally like work on it. You can work it, rework it. There are going to be times that your life, maybe that this will change, and that's okay too. But I want you to think about something. Think about the last time that someone asked you to do something. Okay, I had someone do this today. I had someone reach out to me and say, oh, I see that you are choosing to homeschool your child. I would love to put you on a message that I just created with a group message with a ton of other homeschool moms that will invite you to all of these things all the time. What was my gut reaction? My gut reaction was like, oh, I don't know about that. Like that was what my gut said to me. And then there was this little voice in my head that was like, you should please people. That could be fun. That could be fun, maybe, right? And you don't want to let this person down, and all these other things kept coming into play. Do you ever feel that way when someone asks you to do something? Like your gut reaction is like, oh, I don't think so. But then all of a sudden this like thought process comes over where it's like, maybe you should do that. Maybe that would be fun. Maybe you'll be missing out. Maybe you'll let that person down. All these things, right? But when push comes to shove, here's a rule of thumb that has really helped me. If your immediate gut response, because listening to your gut, listening to your intuition is something that we had as a child, that we lost somewhere along the way, that we can regain that connection. And it is so important because our gut and our emotion, that natural response, it is leading us towards joy, my friends. It really is. So if your initial reaction is like, I don't know, guess what? Your answer should be to that activity. Anybody? What do you think? No, it should be no, okay? If your immediate response isn't, hell yeah, I want to do that, you know what you should say? Hell no. And like nicely, you don't have to, like, I didn't message that girl back and say that, but it should be. That is like the best rule of thought. I don't remember where I heard that, but I heard that somewhere, and guess what? It sticks. If my initial response isn't like, yeah, that is yes, like right away in my gut, if it isn't hell yeah, then say hell no, thank you. Okay? Because you are going to be protecting your boundaries that way. Now, I'm not saying that there isn't the occasional time when you might have to do something like a family obligation or something like that, where your gut is like, but maybe you should. But I don't know. I'm even saying, like, think about those two. Think about them all. Because we all have the same 24 hours in a day. It's about protecting and really putting boundaries on that time to make you feel more balanced with what you do have. Prioritizing your time. So I think that that is something that, I don't know, it has helped me so much. But now I'm gonna kind of switch gears a little bit. And bringing along those hats that you wear, bringing along that chart that you made, I'm gonna talk about a little bit about a daily practice. Because finding balance within yourself and finding balance emotionally, it is a daily practice. It is not something that I am just going to tell you, oh, okay, do this, and then all of a sudden you're going to be emotionally balanced. It is a lifestyle choice. There are things like I see right here, some of you value gardening, meditation, your spiritual routine, family, all of these different things, right? These are like things that bring you joy. I said, what brings you joy? I did not say what brings you pain. I did not say what do you have to do in a day. I said what brings you joy. Any of those things that you just mentioned, you need to bring into your daily practice. Daily practice. Because the more joy that you allow yourself to have, the more joy you are going to have. Okay? It's that whole law of attraction. If you are listening to your intuition, you are listening to your gut, that is what is driving you. I don't remember who was on the call last time, but I know that we had talked all about the emotional continuum, right? Do you guys remember this? And how there are 22 different emotions, and there's an emotional starting point that you are at. And then there are different things that you can do to kind of climb up that continuum. Do any of you remember us talking about this, right? And it was crazy business. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to share with you a little chart, which I thought was super, super helpful, because I know that a lot of you were talking to me about this, and you also wrote a lot to me about this after the fact, because your daily practice is meant to bring you more joy. Actually, every moment of every day is meant to bring you more joy. Okay? God, the universe, it's all here. Like, you can have a joyous life. You can. And it's just all about kind of figuring out where you are in that emotional starting point and doing things that bump you up slowly but surely until you get to a joyful state. And one of them, like I said, is simply being in tune with your instincts, listening to your gut. So let me show you over here. I'm going to share my screen with you just to give you a reminder of what these points look like. So this is all about the emotional and vibrational scale, okay? And it is large. And remember, we talked about if you were at the very bottom of the scale, this is when you are feeling fear, you're feeling grief, despair, powerlessness. That is at the very bottom of the emotional scale. And going up would be insecurity, guilt, unworthiness. That's a little bit higher up. Jealousy is above that. Hatred and rage is even further above that. Anger, revenge above that. Discouragement up a step. Blame, worry, doubt, disappointment, overwhelmed. Feelings of frustration. Feelings of impatience. Pessimism, boredom. And then all of a sudden, it's not until the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 top emotions that we start to see and hear emotions that we would associate with positive emotions: contentment, hopefulness, positive expectations, belief, optimism, enthusiasm, happiness, passion, joy, appreciation, empowered, freedom, and love. So wherever you are, it's about just kind of moving up in little steps to open yourself up and to open your experiences up to more joy. It really is, because it is here all around us. Now, some of you might be saying, okay, well, how can I do this? And this goes through a really nice little upward spiral, things that you can do. Boredom is kind of in the middle, and then there's also a downward spiral. So ways to do this. I thought this was so awesome. So they talk about that you can do some little activities in order to kind of move up the scale a little bit. And I'm going to stop sharing and just kind of chat with you a little bit. And one of them is going to be within your daily practice in general. So we're going to talk about how we can incorporate some of these things into your daily practice too. So if you focus on where you are at and you are aware of where you are emotionally and think about where you can go from there, one of the absolute best ways to do this is to be in a mindset of gratitude. So if you start your day in a mindset of gratitude, literally what I do when I wake up first thing in the morning, as soon as my eyes open, I don't allow myself out of bed until I recite 5 things in my head that I am grateful for. Every single morning. There are mornings that I wake up feeling anxious for I don't know what reason. Do any of you feel that way when you wake up? Like sometimes you just feel anxious straight off the bat? Any of you? Or does it come on more throughout the day? Anybody wake up with anxiety? Just open your eyes some days and you're like, ooh, there it is. Okay, a great way to help that is to start with an attitude of gratitude, like immediately. Eyes open, 5 things. Okay, now I'm allowed out of bed. And it's just like 5 things, 5 specific things before you get up and out of bed. Gratitude was at the very highest emotion. It was synonymous with joy. So just by being grateful and expressing an attitude of gratitude within one area of your life or another, you are automatically going to move up that emotional scale. That's one way. In addition, something else that you can do within your life is an act of service. So you are like stuck on you and I'm feeling this and I'm feeling that way. Instead of being stuck on how you're feeling, flip it and see how you can serve someone else. And you can do that in so many different ways. You can pick up the phone call someone and literally say, hey, you've been on your mind. Is there anything I can do for you? You can bake them something. You can send them a card. You can do any number of things. Acts of service is, again, something that is 100% going to move you up that emotional scale. Another thing is going to be breathing activities. And I'm going to end you with one in just a little bit. Yes, it adjusts your focus to what your blessings are. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, and research does absolutely suggest that if you start in that mindset and continue it throughout the day, it will completely help you. So you're starting that way. And now we're going to talk about how we can incorporate more of that within your daily practice, which I'm going to recommend happens in the morning time. But there are also ways to do that throughout the day too. You can literally be feeling any kind of way, especially if it's with someone, maybe your child is very challenging or your significant other is being very challenging in the moment, and literally telling them something that you are grateful about. It's called the appreciation game. You can play this with someone else. And you can be like, hey, you know what? I really appreciate this about you. And just by doing that, the energy towards that person and within that person and you, the energy between the two of you, it's going to kind of dissipate and go into a higher feeling. So let's talk about our daily practice. How many of you have a morning routine that you do every day? And about how long does it take? And if not, it's okay too. Let's go back to our pad and paper. I want you to brainstorm. Some of you have a morning routine. Some of you do not, and that's okay too. Some of you do some simple tasks, and that's okay too. None of it is right or wrong. I just want to go back to it. So let's go back to our pen and paper, and I want you to make a little wish list really quickly. If you could incorporate more of into your morning routine, what would it be? Make a little list right now. If you could incorporate more of think about what brings you joy. If you could incorporate more gardening, more prayer, more quiet time, more reading, more physical activity of one sort or another, positive affirmations, journaling, an oils routine, a supplement routine, what would it be? So you have your little wish list. Now I want you to think, okay, I wake up in the morning, and from the time between you waking up and when your responsibilities for others start, how much time do you have? Okay, so I'm not talking about like the things that you're doing. Like part of my routine, I now have a deal with my son that I have to have his, this sounds ridiculous, but I have to have his breakfast on the table when he wakes up. And if I have that, that's all that he wanted, because he wakes up hangry, like irrationally hangry. If I have that, I then have a chart for him. He will go and he will brush his teeth. He will get dressed. He will walk the dog. He will feed the dog. All I had to do was have breakfast on the table. And we were fighting every morning about all these things. So that's part of it, but I don't really include that as part of like my me routine, if that makes sense. Now I've gotten creative with breakfast ideas for him. So they can be really quick. They're there, they're still healthy, they're good, but I can just pull it right out of the fridge and pop it down. So I want you to think about, what is that timing that you have? And then I want you to go back to your list and think, well, how much time do I really need? How much time do I really need to build in more of what I want? So for example, some of you may have an hour from the time that you wake up to the time that you have to leave for work in the morning. That doesn't mean that that full hour is your self-care morning routine, if that makes sense, right? Because part of it, you might be rushing, like you may be rushing and getting dressed, you might be rushing and taking a shower, you might be rushing and feeding the dog, you might be rushing. I'm talking about like dedicated time for you. Dedicated time for you. How much more time do you need? Think about it this way. How much more time are you willing to invest in yourself? Really, be honest. I don't have enough. I do not build in enough. There are days that I do maybe like half an hour. I need more. I need more. Half an hour is not enough, because when that half an hour comes crashing down and then everything else goes crazy in my house, guess what? Boop, I'm done, right? I'm done. So really think about this. Now think about where are you willing to give that time from? Are you willing to go to bed half an hour earlier? Are you willing to wake up half an hour earlier? What if I told you that by extending that time in the morning and making it chock full of goodness just for you, your day would feel way more balanced throughout the entire day? Because it is a state that is within you. It is you who goes on to be able to then handle all the things that come to you in a more joyful way. It's you that is more patient. It's you that is more fulfilled. Okay? It is you that took that time to do physical activity in addition to your spiritual practice. Or it's you that took time to meditate in addition to journal. If you are feeling like you need more balance, you need to come back and spend more time on you. You have to. That is the way. Because it is you. It is you as a person. It is you as a spiritual being who is feeling this way that is out of alignment. And maybe you're really good at parts of it. And that's awesome. Like, pat yourself on the back for what you are doing. I'm just saying, perhaps you could do a little bit more. And I'm not telling you to go out and to run a marathon if you hate running marathons. You have a list of things that bring you joy. I'm telling you to spend more time on you and doing things that bring you joy. It's not selfish. There is no part of that that is selfish. You are taking care of others all day long. All day long. Do you not deserve an hour in 24 hours? Think about it. How much time are you willing to invest in yourself? Most of us are health conscious individuals here. We're always telling people, right? You either invest in what? In wellness, right? Or in disease. Why are we not doing that for ourselves? Why are we spending more time helping other people with their problems than just feeding and nurturing ourselves? You deserve it. I know hands down that when I get that time in the morning and like I really do it good, like I did all the things, okay? For me, my practice looks like this. When I do it well, like, and I'm not talking about giving myself a grade. I'm just talking about I took the time. Okay, I woke up and I got out of bed right after I did those 5 things, and I got my butt downstairs and I didn't scroll social media. I got right to like my me time and I did it and I did it. And then I still got time to sit there for like a minute in quiet. It was amazing. So what I do, I get up, I do my gratitude. I pop into the bathroom next door because usually my son is still in my bed with me because he pops over wee hours of the morning. So I crawl out like I'm doing like army rolls on the floor to get out of my bedroom. And then I close the door, I pop on a bra, and I go downstairs in my PJs because I need a bra on if I'm doing any sort of physical activity. I learned that the hard way. And I go down, I sit in the same chair every single morning. I drink my full glass of water that I had poured out the night before. I start my diffuser. I do my oils, which I'm going to show you my new routine in just a minute. I read my devotion. I do my journal. I use the Start Today journal by Rachel Hollis, and I love it. It has 5 things that you are grateful for right at the top. And then it also goes through 10 goals that you're working on in your life. Love it. And then it has 1 focus area. After that, I do a meditation. And then I do physical activity, typically yoga. When I do all those things, and then I hear the feet come down and I hear my dog barking, I totally can handle it. When I don't do those things and I hear the feet coming down and I hear the dog barking, right away my gut is like, oh, like you chose to sit here and scroll social media for 20 minutes. You did not get your shit done. You did not take care of yourself. And now look at how you feel. Like it happens almost instantaneously for me. Does anybody else feel that way? Anybody? Like when you get your stuff done, you feel like I took care of me. I can handle everyone else a little bit better, right? Like seriously, it is that. This morning, guess what, guys? I did not do this perfectly. I did it quite imperfectly. So another hint that I've been doing, because I don't know, for me, it's social media that I'll go to because I'll be like, ooh, I can sneak in some extra work time here while everybody's sleeping. So what I started doing at nighttime, right after I get off with you guys, I literally have been deleting 3 apps off my phone. I delete Facebook, I delete Messenger, and I delete Instagram every night. And I have it that I cannot put them back on until 9:30 in the morning. I literally delete them from my phone. Because even when I put little timers on them, it was just like, if you touch it, then it says, oh, well, you said you said you didn't want to be on this. Do you really want to do it? And I would be like, yeah, I do. Like, it'll only be a minute. And then there I was 20 minutes later. I'm like, I have no freaking self-control. So what I literally started doing was deleting them. That keeps down my screen time before bed. And that also keeps down my screen time in the morning. And I'm not missing out on anything. I have productive work time then that I do later when I do those things. So that is something that may sound extreme, but it has helped me tremendously with my morning routine. I want you now, take a look at your timing. You took a look at how much more time you need. You took a look at the things that brought you joy, that bring you joy. Now take a look and do a quick mock schedule. Do a little mock schedule, do a little rough draft. What would your morning routine look like? Just, you don't have to do exact timing, just boom, 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 boom. What is it in order? Because a routine is very helpful when it comes to emotional balance in general. How would it look like for you? You don't have to share it publicly, but just jot it down. Where do you have a little bit more area to give? Where would you like to spend a little bit more time? Jot, jot, jot it down. There is a book called The Miracle Morning. Have any of you read that? It's a good one. It gives you lots of different ideas of very successful individuals and how they spend their routine in the morning. So it just kind of is neat to listen to it. It's on Audible as well. It's called The Miracle Morning. They have it like The Miracle Morning for moms, The Miracle Morning for network marketers, The Miracle Morning for people, The Miracle Mornings for like all different professions. So it's very interesting. I found that a great resource. In addition, there's another book that I love that was a game changer for me. It's called Present Over Perfect. It's by Shauna Nyquist. Oh, love that book. Loved it, loved it, loved it. Helped me so much with my super type A personality. I'm so much more relaxed, right? It's so, so, so good. I may just listen to it again soon just because I loved it that much. Yes. So just think about this. Give this time, this conversation this evening, to really be thoughtful about, hey, I am in control of the way that I start my day. I love all the jotting going on. Now what I'm going to leave you with is a little practice and a little technique that you can use at any time during any day. And it's a breathing technique. I'm just going to call it the 1-minute breath. I am going to set a little timer, and I'm going to have you do this with me for 1 minute. You know what? I still see some pens going. I'm going to share my oil routine first, and then that will be what we do last. So I have been doing a hodgepodge of oils. I always add oils to my routine every single morning. I leave them in a basket right next to my chair so that there's no excuses. I don't have to run around the house looking through my purse, looking through the car, looking through wherever, trying to find those oils that I use. I put my oils where I use them. So you will see them in weird places. Tummy Jais, Di-Jais, they are in our bathroom. You will see them when you walk inside, because that is where people tend to need those oils. So literally the oils are where I use them. I was noticing last week that I was feeling like super anxious. I always go on this anxiety bit of a roller coaster, but for whatever reason, last week it was like crazy business. So I was thinking about what I could do to help to support myself a little bit more. And I've had the Great Day Protocol oils for such a long time. And I have not done the Great Day Protocol. I love the feelings kit, and I do that every single night, and I swear by it. What I love and what I've grown to see the most success is when I pair a movement, okay, with an affirmation. When I do both, I see the biggest difference in my emotion and in my well-being. So affirmations have done amazing things for me. Not so much in isolation, but when I pair them with a movement. And this can also be when you're doing like a mudra, which is a movement, with a mantra, which is an affirmation. I love it. I see the biggest difference in my overall well-being. So what I love about the Great Day Protocol, it's just 4 oils that I use. You put them on a very specific part of your body, and you pair them with a mantra, with a positive affirmation. It makes a difference because you also are the gatekeeper of the language that you allow in your brain. Like you are. You can surround yourself with positive language, and you can surround yourself with positive people. And I know some of you are like, oh, you don't know my relatives. But hey, you can totally choose to spend more time with those that bring you joy and less time with those that do not. You can totally be in charge of that. Like you are in charge of that. You are as much a gatekeeper of your emotions and your emotional well-being as you are of your home. So what I love, and I'm just going to walk you through real quick. It starts with valor. The 4 oils are valor, harmony, joy, and white angelica. I am always out of white angelica in my house. Okay, valor, harmony, joy, and white angelica. It's called the Great Day Protocol. So what I choose to do is I always start with valor. You take it, you put all these oils in your left hand, which I think is interesting. I don't really know the reason for that. I didn't look that up, but you put it in your left hand. Then this one goes on your left wrist, and you hold your wrist together. The affirmation is, I am grounded, stable, and balanced. I am full of courage and confidence. Next up is harmony. Harmony goes right above your belly button. This is also one of the oils that is in the feelings kit. Love it. That affirmation is, I am in harmony with the flow of life. I have unconditional love for those around me. Joy is next. Anybody know where joy goes? I'll share the affirmations in the group then. Joy goes right above your heart. Great one for emotions. Oh my goodness. I am full of optimism and my heart is joyful. And I will share this in the event. Last but not least is white angelica. And this one goes on your crown and down your arms. If you are not putting oils on the crown of your head, you're missing out. Just saying. Okay, crown of your head, down your arms. This is a long affirmation, but this is in my opinion, the most important one. I am safe and protected. I interact with those around me appropriately. I take in all the good and none of the bad. Okay? If you are starting your day with those emotions, with that intention, with those affirmations, with these oils that are so powerful and life-giving, it is just, it's incredible. It's incredible really what it does. And then, like I said, I end with the feelings kit too. I will share this in our group in the event. Last but not least, papers down, pencils down. Get ready to breathe. We're gonna do this for 1 minute together, and then I'm gonna let you go about your business for the rest of the night. Go to plan your morning routine for tomorrow. And here is the way that it goes. So we are going to be breathing in. It's gonna be a pattern. In for 5 seconds. We're gonna hold for 5 seconds. And then we're gonna exhale for 5 seconds. After the exhale, we're gonna inhale for 5 seconds, hold for 5 seconds, exhale for 5 seconds. We're just gonna do it for 1 minute, okay? This is a technique that is proven to lift your energy and to kind of run you up the ladder on that emotional scale. Are you ready? Right, ready? In, hold, exhale, 5 seconds. Ready, go. That's 1 minute. The beauty of that is you can take that anywhere with you. Anywhere. You can do it at any time. You can teach your children to do it. You can teach your significant other to do it. You can teach, I don't know, maybe your dogs to do it if you have really smart dogs. I don't know. But you can teach this to anyone. And it is a great moment to just kind of take a break, to shut it off. You're counting the whole time. So you're being very intentional with your breath. It's almost impossible to be going all the different places in your mind because your mind is on that movement and that counting. So that is a technique that you can do anywhere to help you feel a little bit more in tune and a little bit more balanced with your emotions. And that is what I'm going to leave you with this evening. I will share the information about the Great Day Protocol, also the link to the emotions chart, so that if you would like more information about that, you can see exactly where you can find that. And next week, Sarah, what are we going to be talking about next week?
Hey everyone, we are going to be talking about back to school. So thank you, Sarah, for tonight. That was wonderful. I'm like feeling so relaxed from that briefing. Like, what are we talking about next week? Next week is all about immunity and back to school, no matter what choice that you are making, or even if you don't have any school-age children. I mean, going into the winter months, it's going to be about immunity. So I'm sure even if you don't have school-age children or children, you can find some nugget of truth going into fall and winter and supporting your immune system. So that's next week. And Sarah and I are joining forces. I know you mentioned that at the beginning, but no need to have 2 classes a week. I know it's kind of a lot to keep track of. And last week we kind of doubled up. You did thieves and I did thieves. I was like, why are we doing 2 in 1 week? So we're just gonna work together on this, and it's one place, one time, and we'll just link arms.
Thank you.